around your hometown, do you ever think about how much has changed? Do you ever think about how much has changed in the past 50 years, 75 years, or even 100 years? Our guest today has been a resident of Darien, Connecticut since 1935 and provides a unique perspective on the town and area of southern Connecticut. What is commonly considered now to be one of the richest towns in America used to be a home for farmers and blue-collar workers and their families. This program encourages students to connect with their friends and neighbors in the community with interesting stories and views and bring them on air to discuss. The Norwalk Community College Humanities Department presents Person to Person, and now our host, Victoria Harriet.
Joining us for today's edition of Person to Person. This show is designed to bring light to different members of our community and provide interviewing and directing experience for our students. All of the elements of the production today are the work of aspiring filmmakers and stars, also known as television production students. Today we are thrilled to have Martin Flaherty joining us in the studio. His life and work in Darien has made him a pillar of the community, and we are grateful to get the opportunity to speak with him. Thank you for coming today.
It's my pleasure.
So what was it like growing up in Darien, especially at the dairy farm?
Well, the dairy farm was not in Darien. The dairy was, but the farms were upstate where they had a lot of cows, and the milk was shipped down to the dairy. Mm-hmm. But growing up in Darien was a boy's paradise. I mean, we had to work. My father had a vegetable garden the size of an infield on a hardball baseball field. And we had sometimes as many as 400 chickens.
400?
Yeah, 400 chickens. I never really counted them, but I had to clean the chicken houses and pick up the eggs and kindle the eggs and package them, deliver them. You know, we traded our neighbors for eggs, for meat or whatever.
Sure.
You know, and then there were woods and streams and just places for a boy to run.
Yeah, it sounds like a great time. And
I learned to love the outdoors. You know, it's just beautiful. And my grandmother, who lived on the other side of town, and my grandfather, they ran Liner's Dairy. They were my mother's parents. And when my grandmother said she needed somebody was sick or didn't show up for work, or she needed a lawn mowed or the trucks washed or whatever, get over here. And if you didn't get there fast, you were in trouble.
In trouble.
Yeah, so I either jogged there or rode my bike or got a ride.
Sure.
But I got there in a hurry.
There you go.
And I did not expect to get paid.
Really? No compensation?
Oh, a lot of good food. And she'd give me some money. And
good.
But she made sure that always 75% of the money I got went in the bank.
Good.
It's
better than I'm doing.
Better than most kids. And back in the day, just a little funny insight. There were 3 things that weren't allowed on the table. Elbows, screens, and hats.
Okay.
No, didn't happen.
I break all those rules.
No, didn't happen then. But yeah, I loved working in the dairy.
So for the most part, would you say you found it to be enjoyable or rewarding?
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. You know, it kind of changed when I got into high school. Then we got into the 2 sides of Darien, the rich side and the blue-collar side. And I was a blue-collar side. And if I was on a football team, which I was for a while, I was invited to all the parties.
Okay.
When the season was over, no more parties, you know. And I learned working with my father, the people that paid their bills were the poor people.
Sure.
The rich people just, he can wait, you know. So that was an interesting lesson in business, you know. But working was just the thing we did. Everybody did.
It sounds like you had a lot of family around when you were growing up. Were you guys close?
Well, my mother had a sister, Helen, younger sister, who babysat me a lot, and her and her husband ended up getting a farm upstate in Sherman, Connecticut, where I spent many of my very happy summers working on 50 milking cows, cleaning barns and everything that went with it. But yeah, that was even 250 acres they had, plus
250. That's a lot of space.
Oh yeah. Well, it was just big.
Sure.
And neighboring farms, there was more territory. You could wander for days, and it was beautiful. So I'd love the summers there.
So how was the transition from high school to trade school?
Well, it's funny. I went to Darien High School, and I wasn't very happy there.
Okay.
And at the time, I guess I'd be called a poor student, right? And our neighbors, his name was Paul Cubetta, he was the director of Wright Tech, and he talked my parents into letting me go there.
Okay.
Of course, I made a mistake the first couple of days. I rode in with a principal. Not a good plan. But anyway, I all of a sudden, I took it. I liked what I was learning. And I was like 2 months behind the class already in math.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You know, I got a good, we did 1 week in shop and 1 week in studies.
Okay.
And switched back and forth like that. But when I graduated from Wright Tech, I already had the skills I needed to work.
Sure.
You know, with what my father taught me and what I learned there, I was ready to go.
Okay.
And when my father asked me to work for him for a couple of weeks, I retired over 50 years later.
So what was that like working for him and then taking over the business?
Well, he died suddenly, so
Okay.
there was no discussion, you know.
Okay.
You
Sorry
know,
to hear.
All of a sudden, I was stuck in the office, and I loved doing the outside work,
Of course.
you know. So I had to learn all over again. And fortunately, my mother was the bookkeeper, and that didn't change,
Okay.
you know. She was really good.
Good.
You know, really good, you know. So that was a transition. Because
Okay.
then I had to get into the community,
Sure.
you know, be a community guide, a Chamber of Commerce, and
Yeah, it's a quick
the
change. You have
Lions
to learn
Club.
things on the fly.
Yeah, and I did.
So speaking of change, how was it meeting your wife and then converting to Judaism? Be careful, she's watching.
She's watching, I know. But I was, you know, getting 26, 27 years old, and I was very popular with the girls. I'm sure
Okay.
you find that surprising, but I was. But I was getting tired of the dating scene and the cocktail lounges and all that. And I knew my life was going to change. And I knew one day the girl, I don't want to tear up,
No, good, we need this emotion.
but the girl that I married, who I went to the beach one day on a suggestion of a friend of mine. There will be a couple of girls from Westport down visiting 2 girls I knew from Darien. He said, you ought to go down and check them out. So I went to the beach that day, and there were 4 girls sitting on the beach. I went over and sat down and introduced myself. And these girls just ignored me. And I said, oh, the heck with this. There's no sense in sitting here. So I asked one of the girls where my towel was, and she gave me a sarcastic remark, and I said, oh, I'm going to teach this girl a lesson. I'm going to take her out and fall in love with her and marry her.
That's a very good plan.
Which happened, and we've been married 54 years a few days ago, the 27th of
Congratulations.
February. Yeah, and it's been wonderful. Her family treated me just as nice as could be. Father, not so much, but I charmed them. But her mother and her sister, she's got a twin sister and a younger sister. We're all like really tight family.
Good,
And
family's
her
important.
grandmother, old lady, beat me on a golf course once. I'll never forget that. And my wife beat me in a foot race once.
No way.
Yeah, and I was the big jock. Didn't happen. But yeah, we're fortunate. We got 2 wonderful kids. They live in Darien with us. They have 2 kids apiece. Everybody lives in Darien. It's great. Now
Yeah.
we got one son to move to California, grandson to move to California, but whatever.
I read a Snapple fact once that said that most people don't move like more than 50 miles away from home. So, there you
Well,
go.
let's see, how far did I move? I'm not too far from where I started. I'm on the other side of town. I'm on a rich side of town now.
Look at that.
But I got the
Moving on
house cheap.
out. That's what it's about. You have to find that bargain.
Right. Well, I found the bargain and fixed it up myself.
So what was the experience of raising your children in Darien like? Because at that point, things, they change over time.
Well, when the kids were very young, they went to a grammar school that was very close to my office.
Okay.
And I had the opportunity to cross them in the morning, and then they'd walk the sidewalk to school. And in the afternoon, they'd walk the sidewalk to the gas station across from my office, and the guy in the gas station would cross them to my office.
Okay.
And the house was behind my office. So eventually I got called Mr. Mom, you know. And by then, the kids were in grammar school, and Terry went back to her career again.
Okay.
So I was with the kids late in the day, and it was just a great experience for me. And it was tough on Terry because she didn't see the kids that much.
Sure.
You know. But it all worked out beautifully. We're a really tight-knit family.
So what's your family like now?
Let's see. My daughter graduated from the University of Rhode Island
Okay.
after going there, Humboldt State in California.
Okay.
They heard the pot was better out there. I don't know. And then she transferred to England for a while.
Freer out there.
We did go visit her there.
Okay.
It was beautiful. Then she did England for a while, then graduated from URI. And my son, when I got injured, he was in high school. And I kind of goofed up his life a lot because we were an outside family, too. We have a home in Vermont. We do a lot. We've been skiing for 50 years up there or more.
I've always wanted to ski.
Well, there you go.
I'll have to come up one time.
My wife is here. She'll teach you.
Very good. And we have snow right outside.
That's not downhill, right? So, yeah, it's just been a wonderful experience. My son graduated from Lehigh, and it was a recession going on then. Okay. And I had a friend that was a civil engineer. And I said, John, take my son down to that company where you're working. Show him what it's like in a company. He said, okay. And Craig went down there and was interviewed by the boss for a half an hour and was offered a job. Okay. He is now the company president.
Congratulations. Okay. There you go.
That's the kind of family we are.
Yes. Sounds like a great family.
I don't know whether you're making me cry or I just got bad eyes.
No. I have that effect on people. I'm just kidding. Well, thank you so much. It was so nice talking to you.
Just nice meeting you.
This has been A Person to Person with me, your host, Victoria Harriott. Thank you again for joining us, Marty. We hope you tune in next week to watch another individual story. Thank you and have a great day. That was fun. I like that.
Yeah, I pulled a few tears out. A little emotion for the screen.
This has been Person to Person, hosted by Victoria Harriott, directed by DeRocco. I am your host, Ian Ward. Person to Person is a Norwalk Community College production.